Hello, my loves. Hello. Welcome to October 2020's Energy Update. We are also going to be diving into what's going to be happening for the remainder of 2020. And this is just going to be a domino, a procession. These updates have been super intense pretty much all year, and they've pretty much just built upon each other. So this is going to be a very quantum conversation. So as you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know if you can hear me. I am wearing a different mic today because I have a board. You probably can't read it, but that's okay. It's more for me than anything else. And I am standing today. We have a lot of big energy that's going to be coming through underneath my words. So if you ever hear a high-pitched tone or you feel activations happening as I'm speaking or tingling, please know that my words are light encoded. I have the natural gift of light language. So my eyes are activating, my energy is activating, my voice is activating. That's why a lot of people work with me, because just being in my energy really up levels their game. So grab a water and snuggle in. Hi, everybody. Yes, thank you for telling me you can hear me. Yes, hi. So you'll see me commenting. That's actually my manager, Corey. You'll either see it as me, or you might even see it as her. I'm going to be doing today's update a little bit differently. It's taken me about a week to bring in and download all the information, all the images, to really articulate everything that I've been given. If you see me get emotional, just know that that's the 9th dimensional Pleiadian collective. Whenever they tap into my heart, it like literally pours tears out of me. It gets very emotional because they are such loving, loving, loving beings. We also have, which is, you're going to see me moving a lot. It's because whenever I have big energy, I can't sit still. I gotta move my body to integrate the energies. We have the Galactic Federation of Light with me, and we also have the Ancients, which those who have been following me for a minute, you know that the Ancients showed up for me this year. And they are a very, very big energy, okay? I've also been told that this is gonna be one of the biggest watched updates this year that of at least my updates, meaning I will be reaching a very big audience. And for those who already know me, I work with people from just waking up and to their mastery of stepping into the teacher, light worker, way shower role. And so for those who are new to me, I am Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multi-dimensional teacher and healer. I'm here to clear the channels of those who are going to be showing the way from this point forward. I'm here to help you integrate all parts and pieces of yourself, coming into union with yourself, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Which is what we are doing collectively, okay? We're coming into union. So if you guys have questions, comments as I'm speaking, I'm not going to be reading them until the very end. That way I don't break my flow. And if I do break my flow, I'm very upfront with it. I will let you guys know that I have to wait for the stream of consciousness to come back around. So what I'd like everybody to do just to begin is just to take a deep breath, okay? And as you guys are hopping on, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you found me. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag it replay, say hello. Let me send you some love and appreciation for watching, for taking this time and spending this time with me. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths and let's really just sink our energy deep, deep into our heart space, okay? So just taking a deep breath in, filling up your belly and your chest, and then out. Just letting whatever's been weighing on you, whatever worries, whatever concerns, distractions, just letting them fall away. Breathing in again through the nose. And out through the mouth. Dropping you deep, deep, deep into your heart space. And one last time. Bringing in all that beautiful, hot, pink, pure unity love into your heart. And breathing out, really anchoring your light body deep, deep, deep into your physical body. So let's dive into what is happening, because I'm sure you guys know by now that October is going to be a little bit more of an intense month than what we have seen thus far, which is saying a lot because there's been a lot of Twilight Zone type things happening, a little craziness happening, right? So we're going to be talking about a lot of things. And I want to say that none of this is fear-based. Nothing I say, look, my light just decides it's not going to work anymore. And we're going to roll with it. Nothing I say is meant to be fear-based. This is not meant to scare you. This is not meant to put you into a state of fight or flight. This is meant to inform you, to educate you, to give you the potentials of what we may see play out. I'm speaking from an energetic level. When I read the energy, when I do these updates, I'm communicating with the planets. I am communicating with source consciousness. I'm communicating with the collective. I'm communicating with a fourth dimensional plane of existence, as well as looking at the potentials of timelines that were actually created out of the human fear. Okay, so our human fear, our belief system, has actually created timelines. So what I'm going to be talking about today, and the things that I have been shown, the information I've been given, the things that I have heard, these are potentials. And I always take the highest potentials and bring them together. And that's what kind of forms that. And as I'm doing this, I receive more information through my aura, through my field. I either hear it or sense it or see it, and it comes all together and my heart translates it. Okay. So this doesn't mean that everything I say is going to play out just as I say it. I'm talking from an energetic perspective. And a lot of this, actually all of it, has already happened. Okay, it's already happened. What is happening now that we see is the physical manifestation, which means some of this doesn't have to actually manifest into physicality. It's kind of like giving us the opportunity, because as it comes down into this third dimensional plane of existence, right, which is what we call the human earth reality, everything slows down. So even though everything's already happened, it has to be played out now. And it plays out in like, this is like, earth is like slow motion, you guys. It's like slow motion. And so what has already happened, we're seeing the replay of it in slow motion being played out. Okay. So please know that when I tell you that where we're going, what we're shifting into, what the new earth is going to look like, what the new reality is going to look like, I'm speaking from seeing it already, being shown it as already happened. Love wins. I cannot say that enough. Love wins. There's no need to fight. There's no need to fight against what is going to happen or what is happening. There is no need to be in fear of it. There is no need for any of you guys to be in the state of fight, flight, or freeze, because I'm telling you the end result right now. Love wins. Okay? This place that we call Earth, this place that we are currently living, is going to be better than you could possibly ever fathom or imagine in the end game. I want you to hear me when I say that. Whew, Pleiadians coming in hot. It's going to be pure love. It's going to be so different than you have ever experienced. And this is our opportunity. This is our opportunity to really lay the foundation for our children and the crystal children that are coming in, because those are going to be our new leaders, right? We are the elders, the light workers, the way showers that are showing up today, that are doing this work, whether it means you're doing this work behind the scenes or you're out in front in the light like I am. Those of us who are doing that work, who are showing the way, who are being the change, we are the ancestors. I mean, we are the elders, right? We're taking what we know that's at the bottom of our well, right? And you know that this is, the body is the well. This is what I speak about as the well. We are taking what we know at the bottom of our well and we're bringing it up. It's not that we're receiving anything from outside of us. We're not receiving anything from guides or ancestors. What they are giving is actually activating the bottom of our well. And in doing so, it kicks that information up, whether it's trauma, hurt, inspiration. It kicks it up into our heart so we can receive it into our heart and translate it, right? So if you guys know about the Schumann resonance, right? This is my simplified, I mean, if you're into the whole science tech part of this, that's fine. I'm going to give you my simplified human version of what happens with the Schumann resonance. So we receive photonic light, okay? The sun, if you guys have noticed, okay, the sun in the middle of the summer was like the hottest it had ever been. It was at the end of a sun cycle. Well, we actually went through a portal over Lionsgate and we went into a whole nother reality, okay? We went through a wormhole, you guys, into a whole nother reality. The sun that we have is not the same sun. And a lot of people are blaming the fires, right, that are all over the Southwest for the way that the sun is. But it doesn't explain why people on the East Coast are seeing it that way or why people in other countries are seeing it that way, because the sun is not the same sun. It's a different sun. Not only that, but it is weaker in the frame of sun rays, right? What it has done is this sun is allowing at least double, if not triple, if not quadruple more photonic light to run through it. So what we're actually receiving isn't necessarily sun rays as humans would know it, but photonic light. So as this photonic light streams in, okay, and at certain times we have high peaks where we call light codes are being activated. We'll have gamma rays come through. We'll have particular codes that are being activated. Those codes actually come in like a faucet. And if you have a faucet that's running and it's pounding on the earth, what's happening? You'll see it start to create a hole or, a crevice, right? That light is pouring into earth, into her physical structuring, which is the macro of our body, right? Our body is our physical structuring. It pours in, it hits the bottom core of her well, and it kicks stuff up. I call that the acid reflux effect. As it kicks up, we see a spike in the Schumann resonance. So that spike that you actually physically see usually happens about 48 hours after a major photonic light code event, okay? So I hope that you guys are following. I hope that this is making sense. If not, receive it into your heart, okay? Just receive this information into your heart. Let these seeds be planted. So the sun is different now. It's streaming in all of this photonic light. And as it activates the earth, it's also activating and interacting with our DNA. And so our physical bodies are going through a major DNA rewrite right now. Our bodies are going from carbon to crystalline. And what does that mean? It means that the density, right, which is carbon, something that's tangible, that's hard, that's past stories, beliefs, stuff that is blocking us, limiting us, right, is actually transforming into light. It's becoming alchemized. It's becoming something that holds crystalline information instead of heavy density that you got to lug behind you. Because you guys, if you look at Egypt, if you look at the past, right, how the pyramids, all that stuff was built, I want you to really think about how all that could have happened, right? We never used to age. I mean, we used to live for 900, 1,000 plus years. Age in itself is a belief system. Aging and dying in itself is a belief system. Okay? People tell me that I look younger than I did in my 20s. Why? Because I'm aging in reverse. I no longer believe in the fact that I'm going to get old and die. I no longer believe that. That belief system is alchemizing and changing and transitioning. And so I feel more vibrant and alive and look better than I actually did in my 20s. Okay? We are shifting. Our bodies are shifting. Now, not everybody is going to be experiencing this at this level. We have all signed up. We have all signed up to go through a different experience. So there are going to be people who would listen to this and go, I don't know what the hell this woman's talking about. She's crazy. And that's okay, because this is not their truth. This is not where they are yet. Will they get to this point? Of course, there is going to be a procession at some point. They will arrive and go through what we have already gone through. But this is why we have to, even as light workers and way showers, stop judging, stop labeling people as 3D or 5D or 6D or 8D. We need to see people through the lens of love and compassion. And we need to see that truth is subjective, okay? My guides always tell me, not everything is true, but there's truth in everything. Okay, because if you believe, right, at the bottom I put in here, You know, it's time for you to create your own reality. What we believe will be, period. If you believe you have to do a ritual to manifest, then you will need to do a ritual. If you believe you have to work hard to make money, you will need to work hard to make money. If you believe if you go float in your pool for 5 hours and you will make $1,000, then that is what's going to happen. We are the creators of our reality. This is a game. Your belief is a chess move. You move forward, the universe responds back. It is a mirrored reality. That's why we call it the law of attraction, right? This is the reality that we have chosen, the game we have chosen to play at this time to help consciousness evolve. Okay, if you guys are not following, you can go back on my YouTube account, and I did a 2-hour live webinar. I will go back and post the link to that, that really dives into the evolution of consciousness, and it will also be a book that I'll be channeling later this year. So let's dive into the actual update, okay, and some of the things that have been coming. So what we already know now is October 1st, we had a full moon in Aries, and it was conjunct Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. It is also the rainbow bridge, okay? This is the rainbow bridge. This is the 4th dimensional pathway. It's not a place where we stop, okay? It is like a conveyor belt at Charlotte Airport, you know, and the walking bridges, you know, where it just carries you through. This Aries, this full moon in Aries, though, activated the Mars retrograde. And you guys all know you've been feeling Mars. Mars, you feel Mars in your body. It is the liberator. It is the activator. Our bodies, like I said, we're going through this major DNA rewrite. Our bodies are going from carbon to crystalline. I've been seeing tons and tons of light workers and healers and way showers telling me, including myself, I have no energy. I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. I have no inspiration. I just want to lay around. I'm so exhausted. Why? Because your physical body is being shut down. It's telling you any shadow work, any parts work that you haven't done, right? This whole year, I have been focused on parts work, which is fragments, right? Your fear personalities, your protector personalities, your inner children, bringing people into union. Because last year, let me take a drink of water. Last year, on the 1010 portal, we began the shift into unity consciousness. We began the shift from carbon to crystalline. We began the shift of actually integrating your personal Akashic record, okay, which is held in your auric field. We began integrating all parts of ourselves. Ironically, synchronistically, it's the same time I actually put out my digital experience, Unity, which does exactly that. Because what happens in this rainbow bridge, what happens is this full moon in Aries that conjunct Chiron, what this began is the birthing of the new earth, right? This has already happened, okay? Gaia has already split. The dimensional shift, the convergence has already happened. But we're seeing this, the slow motion replay now. So what does it mean with the rainbow bridge inside of us? We're no longer going to have 7 separate chakras, right? And actually we have way more than that, but we're just going to talk about the 7 main ones. We're not going to no longer have a separation in the chakra system. When we integrate our Akash, what we're doing is transitioning the 7 chakra system into a diamond light body, okay? It's going to be a diamond light body column of light. It will all just become one crystalline pathway. So that's why it's important to note that it was conjunct Chiron and that it was activating the Mars retrograde, because in the physical body, any density that remains, any old ancestral karma, past lives. Let me tell you, I talked about this in that 2-hour event that I referenced. But this is the time, okay? If you guys have not been doing parts work, if you haven't been doing the work with integrating your fear personalities, your protector personalities, your inner children, facing your fears, your past hurts, your traumas, what we call shadow work, you need to catch up. Now is the time to really commit to yourself, okay? Now is the time to do the work, get a mentor, right? I have 2 membership programs that are supportive. I have a tier 1 and a tier 2. Okay. I have a Self-Mastery Academy and the Secret Soul Society, both which will help you if you're really new and you just want a little bit of support. You have the base one, and the second one is the Mastery Academy, which is literally going to take you through the whole entire ascension process into unity consciousness. Okay. And if you're interested in that, Corey's going to drop a link so you guys can learn more. There's actually a special on that. But you don't have to even work with me. There's no more excuses, guys. There's no more victim consciousness. Go to a used bookstore. Start buying books on how to do this work. You can binge watch YouTube. Find trusted channelers and teachers like myself that will give you a ton of free content and help you do the work. Okay, if you're not drawn to me, find another mentor that you're drawn to. This isn't about me. This is about everybody getting their shit together. This is the time for us to commit, because we are in the final preparations of what we called the event, right? We've been talking about the event for years, right? It's also been called the shift. The event is the great activation. That's what my team calls it. They call it the great activation, and we're going to get to that. But I'm coming back to this activation that I'm talking about. Now is the time, because it's not just that. The second phase of parts work is when you start integrating your other lifetimes and other realities. This is when I went through in that 2-hour event I was discussing. I talked about the dark lives that I had to go back and not relive, but reconcile. I had to see it. Right? If you know my 4 frequencies, if you're in unity, you know my 4 frequencies. I really had to really see the pain that I inflicted in this world at another time and space, another reality. When I was the one that had an agenda, when I was the one that was in that first stage of the awakening where it's all about me and it was totally self-centered, right? This is a lot of politicians. It's a lot of the Hollywood, right? Where you can't sustain your wealth, you can't sustain your energy, you can't sustain your flow. And so you have to constantly pull from other people and to help you maintain that, right? And that's a lot of what people call the dark seeds or the deep state that's purging, right? That's what's happening, is the people that aren't able to hold and sustain, that haven't made it to that 3rd phase of the evolution, that's being purged, right? The hate, the anger, the resentment, anything that's been trapped at the bottom of your well that you have been holding back on, keeping, not facing, not wanting to look at, that is going to come up. And so when we look at the world and how crazy it gets, and all the scary stuff that the stuff that appears scary, that plays out, that's not happening to you. You are an intricate piece of what's happening. If it triggers you at all, if it invokes fear in you, if it invokes sadness in you, it's time for you to face that grief. It's time for you to face that anger, face that pain. You have to see it. You can no longer avoid it, you guys, and you can't love and light your way out of this, right? It doesn't mean you can't meditate, but it means you really have to look at your pain. You really have to see it. You have to hear the stories that are playing out in your head. You've got to listen without judgment to those parts of you, right? This is the parts work, the protector personalities, the fear personalities, the inner children who are screaming at you, this isn't safe. We need to stockpile food and toilet paper, right? We have to buy guns, and we have to go live off the grid, and we have to go do all these things. That is fear speaking, right? I am a mom. I have those things still come up, and I have done the work, trust me. So I'm not telling you not to be prepared, but there's no reason to go overboard. There's no reason to hoard or stockpile, right? You have to face those parts of yourself. You have to really hear those stories and see that those are your limits. Those are the stories, the beliefs, the crazy shit you hear in your head, the stresses, the worries. You need to listen to those and interview it. Like, write that shit down, you guys. Write it down and be like, yeah, tell me, what else you got for me? Let it purge and see that those are your limits that's standing between you and unity consciousness, that's standing between you and your innate, sovereign, divine, free being that you always are. You always are that person, okay? That's never going to change. So, give me a second. Got lots of energy here. So looking at those parts of yourself, I had to look at the times when I was the bad guy. I had to look at the times when I was the wounded healer, when I was the good guy, when I was the one preaching and saving and sharing and doing all the things, giving all of myself, right? That's phase 2. The wounded healer. I can't make any money. I got to do everything for free. This is God's work. And I gave everything, and I was persecuted for it. I had to look at those other lives in Egypt and in the Pleiades, right? And all these other areas in Hadar, all these other planetary systems that I've lived on. I had to reconcile those lives. I had to face what happened to me or what I caused, what I inflicted, because there's always, this is a dualistic universe, right? So we're always, that's that law of attraction, that mirrored reality. There's always two sides of the coin. If you were a victim, you were once a perpetrator. And if you're the perpetrator, you were once the victim. It's not one or the other. You hold both sides within you, always. And I know this is going to trigger people, and that's okay. Because sometimes we need to trigger that anger to come up. We need to trigger that sadness to come up. On October 4th, we had the Mars-Saturn square with Pluto. This is a grand conjunction, you guys. All right. This is a grand conjunction. And this has been actually coming in and out a few times already this year. And we're going to have another one that will be coming as well. But Mars, right? That's the liberator. That's the body, right? It's the fire. It's igniting the fire. It's igniting things. It's bringing things to the surface. Heat rises. Saturn is our karma. It's also the wounded masculine. It's also the divine masculine. It's also the father energy. This is karmic shit, right? So the ancients have been telling me for months now, and I've been sharing that the ruins will rise. The ruins will rise. And if you've been paying attention to some of the alternative news, you'll see that we are starting to have ancient artifacts unearthed, stuff coming back that we haven't ever seen in our lifetime, that we've only heard about or was only theory, right? But we're also having all the stuff that's been going on underneath the surface. All of this shady stuff that's always been happening, the child trafficking, the adrenochrome, the political bullshit, the money laundering, all of it, right? All the conspiracies, which was a term you guys made up actually by the government so that you would not believe in the truth that was coming out. Okay, so all of that stuff is being purged to the surface. That's Saturn. And Pluto is the big transformer. For those of you who've ever had a divine design session with me, right? You know that Pluto in HDE, in your human design chart, is the transformation. It is your personal transformation. So we have the body, the divine masculine and the wounded masculine and all the karmic energy conjuncting with the big transformer. Now we're coming into the 1010 portal. The 1010 portal, and by the way, in between these two, we had what's called a timeline convergence. And the timeline convergence is this. All right. It is literally, and for me, I actually was like, I would think a convergence. I'm going to give you guys a little background on how I get my information. So I woke up and I had all this energy around me, and I was integrating it into my heart and walking around and talking to my team and going on about. And they're showing me this split, but I'm like, what is going on in the energy this morning? And they said overnight we had a timeline convergence. And I'm like, what? In my mind, the human, right, the ego, I'm thinking converge would be coming together. No. Split. 3D, 5D, Rainbow Bridge. They showed me this split. It's not two separate Earths. It's not two separate anything. It's literally the energy separating. So this one timeline that we've been running, right? There's this, what we call this current timeline reality that we're running. There's always hundreds of timelines and realities running. But this main major collective one, right? That the majority of us are tapped into has now converged. It's split. So it went from 1 to 3. And it's not even really 3, it's more like 2. But the third is always the balance point, right? So people in 3D, you're going to still see everything as separate as you. Separation. You're not going to, oh, the energy doesn't affect me, right? That person, what they're doing is not because of me. everything's going to be separate from you. It has no ownership. You're not taking any ownership that this is a mirrored reality, that this is a law of attraction reality. You're not taking any ownership for that. You're only ever going to meet what your subconscious needs you to see or what you believe, right? So this is why I always tell people, and I used to teach energy protection. I used to teach before I knew better, but you don't need to protect your energy. Why? Because I am you and you are me. And your subconscious, your baseline belief system, right? Your baseline is always going to bring in like a magnet and a mirror, show you, meet you wherever you are. So if you're having a really shitty day and you're angry and you're not doing good, and then you start driving, you're going to hit every red light, you're going to hit every road rage driver. And you may think, oh, I'm in a good mood, but subconsciously you have this trapped anger and resentment that you haven't dealt with. And so that energy's been activated, and now they're like, we need, this person isn't looking at it. They're not looking at it. We need them to see it. We need them to see it. So because they won't look at it, we have to show it to them. So now you're pulling in every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to be a jerk to you, and you are now thinking you're a victim of whatever's happening. No. You are only ever going to be met with an energetic match to you. So there's no reason to fear energy or to protect your energy, because the word protection in itself indicates that you are in resistance to feeling something. And as you know, what resists persists, right? It works no different than what you desire. It's the same side of the coin, you guys. They're different sides of the coin. What you resist, you're going to call in. What you desire, you're going to call in. Which one are you giving more attention to? Which one are you ignoring? Because if you're ignoring it and you're resisting it, that's still, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. That's a lot of energy in your body going to avoiding something. Okay? So you're always going to be met with whatever is an energetic match to you. So if you believe that you're being attacked, if you believe someone's doing something, you need to see where you're attacking yourself. What are you doing to yourself? Right? You have to understand whatever is happening is always going to be mirrored back to you. Division. This is, again, when you're judging people. Division is when you're saying that it's like racism. It's like white or black. It's like Democrat or Republican. It's good or bad, good or evil, right? Light and dark. This is division. Source consciousness, if you go back to my whole event thing that I did, the 2-hour event, which I will link, you will see that even the most crappiest things, the most evilest of people, they are still a part of God. They are still a part of Source. It is an aspect of it. It is an important piece of it. There is no division. It's a piece of something that has to happen, okay? A catalyst for us, something that we chose to experience. So stop dividing, stop judging, stop being that person. See them for where they are on their journey. See them on the scale. If I don't know if I can flip this. Maybe. We're just going to turn it around. This is the source, right? This is the whole, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. I probably should pick a darker color. Whiteboards and lights don't always work well. Okay, so if this is source and source consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it, it's cyclical, right? There is no beginning and no end. Okay, just pretend that's not there. No beginning, no end. So let's just say this is the beginning, though. Maybe someone's here and we call this person a 3D. We call this person whatever, and maybe your girlfriend is over here and she's more into conspiracy. So let's say she's over here and maybe you're way over here. Maybe you're already in 8D, right? You're just seeing them as where they are on their journey. You're not seeing them as better or less than you. You just see like, oh, they're at level 1 and I'm at level 5, you know, whatever. So it's important for you guys to understand that. Okay, so the 1010 portal, I told you guys it's going to be very quantum. I'm going to be a little all over the place. So receive it into your heart. 1010 portal, this is the birthing. This is the convergence, okay? So again, 3D, this is where the split happened. You have separation, division, hate, anger, resentment, breaking down. This is the world breaking down. This is systems breaking down. You're going to see the physical systems break down, the school systems, the banking systems, the government systems, any type of structure that's in place to control and manipulate will be broken down. The government was never meant to be controlling. It was meant to be a support system, okay? But as I mentioned in one of my lives, I believe, who knows, I could have been talking to somebody. Think about it. We are all slaves. This is the, I mean, think about it. Most people still work 9 to 5. They go to work. A good portion of them work for some type of government agency or something that supports humanity, right? You go to work for the man, right? Or for the system. And then instead of really getting paid by them, you're still paying them. You're paying taxes and all these fees. You're paying like a quarter or more of your paycheck. So you're paying to be that slave. And then what do you get for that? Do we have free healthcare? No. Do we have free schooling systems? No. Do we have organic, chemically free, healthy food available to us? No. Do we have clean drinking water? No. We're not getting anything. We are literally getting the raw end of the deal. Last year? I'm going to talk about that in a minute too. I don't even remember when it was, but I invoked, I think it was last year, I began the soul evolution movement, which is with the hashtag I am awake. And I said, it's time for us to break free of these systems because listen, they ain't helping you. They're not supporting you. Okay, not at all. Doubt, dependency, seeking. When you're dependent on the government, when you're dependent on somebody outside of you, when you doubt yourself, when you're seeking outside of yourself, 3D. 40 is the bridge. So now you're on that, the only, Charlotte Airport, right? It has these walking, what I don't know, conveyors, right? Where you step on it like the Jetsons and it kind of just walks for you. You don't have to walk. That's the 40, that's the bridge. You're going to be on the bridge and you're going to be looking over here going, holy crap, look at all the destruction. Look at all the stuff that's happening. Look at all the violence. Look at all the hate. Look at all the government corruption. Oh my God, look at all these Hollywood celebrities. Look what they're doing. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at that. You're going to be seeing everything breaking down. It's like watching on one side of the road a whole old Vegas casino erupting, right? Being imploded. And you're just on this conveyor belt watching the implosion happen. And then on the other side, you got 5D, unity consciousness. I am you, you are me. People who are filled with compassion, who trust themselves, who lead themselves, who govern themselves. Time changes. Let me tell you, past, future, present, it's all blurred into one moment. This is the struggle, my current, you just upgrade your problems. You guys have probably heard me say that a million times. You just upgrade your problems. So my real world problems now is I can't remember if I told somebody a month from now, I told them in the future, or if I told them yesterday or a month in the past. When you come into 5, 6, 7D energy, it is literally only this now moment. You're literally accessing all time and space all the time. And so I'm very challenged at being linear now and expressing to someone when something happened, because time doesn't exist. The 1260 timing frequency was something that humans created. Okay? So time changes, manifestation changes. Again, on that event that I talked about, from desire to manifest, I talked about how your higher self, literally, when you have a desire, your higher self aligns to that desire. And the human self is over here. but the higher self is already immediately aligned. So now the only thing stopping you are those limitations, those belief systems, those past hurts, those past traumas. It's the only thing, because all you have to do now is align to it, like a radio station, right? Higher self's aligned to that frequency. Where are you? You got to sit there and maneuver. And once you align to that frequency, it goes super fast. But when you come into 5D, when you've cleared your channel and you've done your work, or you know how to do the work super fast, it's like, I have a desire. Boom, there it is. It happens so much faster. It's so crazy. Okay, so crazy. Again, what we believe will be. So that's the 1010 portal, was the birthing begins. The split already happened, but now we're going to watch it physically begin. So another way of seeing this is for the women who have given birth, when you've had a terrible labor, when the labor's been like 10 or 12 hours or 20, like my daughter was like 24 hours of labor, right? It's intense. There's painful moments. There's times where you're like, oh, okay, I don't have any pain for a minute. And then it's like, oh my God, here it comes. All right. And it just lasts for so long. Think about from now to January, but even probably going closer more to March or April, the longest slow motion birth you've ever had. And you want to watch, that's what's going to be happening. So we're going in a new direction where the birthing begins of New Earth. This is the physical manifestation. So again, this has already happened, but now we're going to go back and replay slow motion. That's what, when we see things physically happen, that's the replay. It's the slow motion effect of it playing out, because this density vibrates at such a lower speed. Okay, October 16th, we have a new moon in Libra. Libra is the scales, you guys. Okay, I work with Mott, who is the reconciler. Okay, she's one of my main godheads. Rebalancing, reconciling. We're going to begin the reconciling process. Okay, so as we move through October, you're going to start to begin to feel the intensity, the rebalancing. Anything that's not of love, anything that is not proceeded from the purpose of, it's going to benefit me, it's going to benefit them, it's going to benefit the whole. So me, you, us. Okay, it needs to benefit everybody. That is the third stage of evolution, right? This is where most of the healers get stuck. They get stuck in the wounded, I got to give my whole life for free. They don't come into the structure of, it benefits me, it benefits them, it benefits us. Okay, so if it's not benefiting all three, everything's in threes, then it's going to be purged to the surface and it's going to be seen. And so we're going to see these huge swings of the pendulum, right? Huge moments of high intensity light where things feel amazing, like they're getting back to normal, which it will never be normal, right? Forget about going back. We're never going back, and you don't want to really dark, where you're like, oh my God, this is so scary, right? But it's not. We're going to talk about how to work with this energy, you guys. We're going to talk about things that you can do to help yourself. So we're going to have that new moon. This is going to be a major new moon. And then we have a double full moon this month. That's massive purging, right? October 31st. This is Halloween. On Halloween, right? They always say, and I always play with this one. They always say it's the thinning of the veils. It's the day when the veils are the thinnest. You know what my guides always say? No, it's the day they don't judge the fact that they can feel and sense spirit. The veils are always thin. The veils are always thin. So it's the rare blue moon, full moon in Taurus. Taurus is a very grounded energy. It's a very materialistic energy. So we're going to be having money and safety issues. Okay. So things that are going to look like or appear to the illusion of threatening your safety, money instabilities, right? Housing instabilities, food instabilities. Those are the things that are going to be coming up. Okay. It's an illusion. Everything's already good. It's already happened. Do not react to it. Do not play into this, which means me, before we dive into this, I want to take a break, because I wrote down here, light workers, time for a real talk. So this is going to be a longer than normal energy update. So I hope you guys are staying with me. This is me. I do these just to pour into you guys. Okay. I literally want to pour into you guys whatever I can bring you, so that you guys can help yourselves. For those of you who consider yourself light workers, healers, teachers, people who are going in that direction, people who are wanting to be the change in the world, our work is heavy. It's ironic that we're called light workers because we are the heavy lifters. The images I see, here comes the Pleiadians. The images I see, I love them so much. The images I see, the downloads I receive, they're scary from a human perspective. I'm always very detached when I get them. And the more detached I am at seeing the horrific things that they show me, the more clarity, the purer the place is. So if you guys get a download that's emotionally charged, I would not divulge that. You have some work to do. It's the information came through a very dirty filter. Okay. But when you receive a download, you see precognition, you see information that is very detached. Like when my grandfather was going to die, I knew he was old and he was sick, but I mean, he was very stubborn. I mean, he literally could have lived for another 2 years in that condition. Right. But it was a couple of days before, and I was still living with my husband at the time. And I just looked at him and I said, my grandpa's going to die. And I had no emotion. And he kind of looked at me like, how can you just say that without any kind of emotion? Well, it came from a very pure place because we don't actually die. We don't actually die, right? We change form, but we also do still die on the human side. This is why I say I'm multidimensional. I'm not a spiritual teacher anymore. I'm a multidimensional teacher. Why? Because I'm going to honor the fact that I have ancestors and wisdom. I'm going to honor the fact that I have a human experience that I'm meant to have and have fun with and learn. And I'm going to honor the fact that I am a high dimensional being, that I'm an avatar, a Christed being of this light. I'm going to honor the fact that there are 3 major components of me, and that I don't have to live in just one reality, that I can enjoy the human aspects. I can have fun, I can play, I can live lightheartedly, I can lean on the wisdom of my well from my ancestors, and I can receive from the guidance of my higher knowing. That's multidimensionality. There's no judgment in that. It's you being free to be you and loving all of you. Radical acceptance, radical self-love. So anyway, light workers, way showers, people that want to be the change. The stuff we see is heavy. The images we see is heavy. Working with clients who have been through sexual traumas, right? Who have been through other traumas, that are dealing with massive grief, that are in a lot of doubt, who are in spirals, that are doing this deep work. It's heavy on us. Don't get sucked into it. Be the observer of it. One of the biggest messages that I've been getting for myself personally, and that I'm going to convey to you guys, is we have to have more fun. We have to live more lightheartedly. We have to give a good portion of our energy to dancing, to laughing, to not taking things seriously, to having fun, to tasting life, having full sensory moments. I've been doing a new thing the last couple of weeks as I've really been playing in my divine feminine energy. When I eat a hot breakfast in the morning and I look out my window and I have my hot cup of coffee, I love some good coffee, and I'm eating it and I'm like, oh, explosion in the mouth, right? Have you guys ever seen that commercial where that Bojangles, I think it's Bojangles, she's like, I'm experiencing some things right now as she eats her sandwich. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I savor the flavor and I eat slowly, and I just am in full sensory of what's happening. And what I've been doing is opening my feet and just setting the intention that, oh, I want everybody to experience this, to have this feeling, and just watching this flood of what's exploding in my heart pour into the 12D grid, pour into the 12D earth grid, right? When I'm having, on Thursday nights, I take myself out on a date, and I had a nice drink at a rooftop bar and watched the gorgeous sun like change 800 times in color. And I just soaked all that sensory in and just saw it flooding out of my feet and into the 12D grid. Like, everybody should be experiencing this moment where they're not on their phones, they're not distracted, they're just they're not in their head, they're just in this moment, and they're just pouring it into the 12D grid, right? I joined TikTok. So those who don't know, you can go find me on TikTok. Yes, I'll be giving inspiration. Yes, I will be letting you know when I'm doing these updates. But I'm also going to have some fucking fun. Excuse my F-bombs. I'm working on those. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do the silly things. I'm going to learn the dances. I'm going to have a good time. Why? Because it makes me feel like a little kid and I giggle at myself, right? I went to Greenville yesterday with my soon to be former husband, and we had a little day trip because we're best friends. And he had to go in and get some x-rays done. And I'm sitting in the car doing TikToks, giggling like a little kid. Why? Because I need that energy. It activates me. It activates my sacral. It lights me up. It brings joy, and it just brings joy all through my body, right? So do something that does that for you. Dance. One of my favorite homework pieces, and if you've ever private mentored with me, you already know this is what I'm going to say. Dance naked. Put on your favorite, like mine, I love some 90s hip hop, right? Put on your favorite jams, dance around naked, or dance around in your living room with your clothes on with your kids, build forts, color, go run around and do cartwheels in the grass, go play, right? My soon to be former husband, we're just going to call him Paul because that's easier. We were driving and he's just waving at people as he stops at lights. And I loved it. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because people are like, why are you waving at me? We've come into a world where it's not okay to be friendly. Otherwise, it's perceived as a threat. Isn't that crazy? We have been conditioned to believe if someone is nice to you, if someone waves at you, if someone smiles at you, they're a pedophile or they're creepy or they have an agenda. Let's shift that. Let's shift that shit. So that's the real talk, you guys. Our work is heavy. We carry a big load, a big responsibility. Lighten up. The other piece I'm going to talk about is resting your body. Okay? If you don't feel like working, if you're not inspired, I'm a manifestor in human design, which means it's really hard for me to plan things out. Because when I feel inspired, I got to go. I got to act on that inspiration. Otherwise, in 2 days from now, when I planned the event, that inspiration may be gone and I may be not wanting to get off the couch. Right? And so a lot of us operate like that. So trust what your body is asking you to do. Trust that you know what's best for you, and stop allowing people to judge you or go by what we are supposed to be doing. Okay? Because there is no supposed to. It's what do you want to do? You are the creator of your reality. It's time to learn how to create your own reality. What you believe will be. You create your reality. I am manifesting a Range Rover. I'm seeing Range Rovers everywhere, which means it's getting closer to me because they're literally everywhere I go, there's a Range Rover. Everywhere. And before that, I never saw them. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So that's the real talk, you guys. It's time for us to not be so serious, okay? All right, so getting back on track here, this timeline convergence, we are in final preparation mode for what has been called the event. The event's been talked about for a very long time. Some people call it a solar flare. It's been called the shift. My team calls it the Great Activation. What they've been showing me, I've talked about this for the past few months. I've alluded to it. I said the middle of December to the middle of January, there's going to be something that happens, right? The event, the Great Activation on 12/21, we are going to have on the solstice 0 degrees into Aquarius, right? We're literally, that is like the 0 point. It's going to be a massive activation that unfolds until 1/12/21, which is the next time we have this major conjunction. In that window, what's going to happen? It's going to be like a mass Kundalini awakening. But this is how it's going to be, because not everybody's going to experience this the same way. Okay? So this activation is going to be activating the year of disclosure, which is next year. 2021 is the year of disclosure. You think you guys have been seeing some disclosure now. You haven't seen anything. And as that happens, right, some people, everybody is going to receive an activation. And I mean every single person is going to be activated. But how that activation unfolds is going to be different. If you've ever had a DNA activation done by me, you know that it can take 3 to 6 months for it to fully anchor and take place. Some people, it will even take 8 months, because I design them to where they unfold nice and slow and people don't have a healing crisis. Okay? It unfolds, it develops, it ripens. Everything's already been done, but it manifests very slowly to make it nice and comfortable for people. Not everybody's experienced that. Mine was not that. Mine was ripping up the biggest scab and going, oh my God, what just happened to me? Right? I woke up in 2012, but in 2016, 2015, 2016, I went into phase 2, which is the emotional body awakening, and all of my gifts opened at once. And it went from auditory craziness, energetic craze, sensitivity. I went from being extroverted and life of the party to nobody is safe. Right? So there's going to be people who experience that. There's going to be people who have massive Kundalini awakenings that just all of a sudden go from 0 to 60. And they went from knowing nothing to knowing everything in a split second. There's going to be people who are activated and the seed has been planted, the Kundalini has been awakened, right? And now they're going to begin their journey. And as we go through that year of disclosure, when they see something, it's going to be like a remembrance. When we start disclosing things and they start being attracted and drawn to people like me and people like you, it's going to be a remembrance. Sometimes I'm drawn, not a lot, but every now and then, to a book or to a person on YouTube. And it's not because they're teaching me anything I don't already know, but they're giving me vocabulary words that I didn't have before. Because if I don't have them and I'm trying to bring that information forth, it's using my computer hard drive. And so sometimes I have to go pick up a book and read 2 pages out of a chapter. And all of a sudden I have the terminology that I was feeling, but didn't have words to express because those words weren't in my current computer system. They weren't in my current vocabulary. So people are going to be drawn to people, right? And so this is why it is so imperative. I'm going to say this so many times. It is so imperative. If you have not been doing your parts work, if you are still not trusting yourself, if you are still not leading yourself, if you are still in victim consciousness, if you still haven't reconciled all parts and pieces of you and gone in to start reconciling your other lives, now is the time. We need to be prepped and ready to go for the great activation. You don't want to be still in the thick of this, because this is what's going to happen. For those who aren't at least on this bridge going in this direction, it's going to be really hard to get on that conveyor belt. This, and I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this to light a fire under your butt, right? So again, if you want guidance from me, I got you. I got you. I have a low $22 membership that will be nice, light support. I have a bigger membership, which is the Self-Mastery Academy, that gives you access to all of my content, all of my stuff that I've already done, every transmission, every digital experience, every masterclass, every online event I'm holding, have held, and am going to hold, all of it. I've made it super easy and affordable so that I can do my 12D work and I can write my books and I can still support everybody else, right? It's been such a great experience putting this all together. And soon, later this month, I will be revealing Tier 3, which is teacher training. And that will be a 12-month mentorship working with me, learning every single modality I know, everything I've ever developed, every technique, everything. You will come out of this program, you'll be done. You will take it, you'll make it your own, and you will be on your way. And you don't even have to go through the whole year. I mean, this is designed to be, this is what we're going to need, you guys. You're not going to need to go to college anymore. There's still stuff you could go there to learn, but it's going to be about getting a master's degree in you. Digging deep into that well and pulling up that wisdom from all time and space, your unique gifts, your superpowers. You all have them, whether you believe it or not. Really diving into your purpose, which is what you're here to learn, and your life's work, which is what you're here to do. and showing up fully with the biggest, baddest tool belt you've ever had. That's tier 3, right? So in the next, hopefully by the end of the week, but if not next week, the information will be available and people can start scheduling times with me if you're interested in that. But the other 2 tiers are available and ready to go. You can get them. There's even a coupon. There's 50% off the Self-Mastery Academy right now. But listen, this isn't about just me. Again, no excuses, you guys. If you're drawn to another teacher, go to them. Do the work. If you can't afford it, get out of that victim consciousness and instead say, you know what? I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to go to a used bookstore. I'm going to look on eBay. I'm going to look on YouTube and I'm going to work with people. There is no excuses anymore. Commit to yourself. Commit to being the best version of you that you can be. I don't care how you do it. This is the time to commit, to go all in. No more hiding from the risks. No more being afraid. You're just being afraid of yourself. Don't get stuck in here, which you're never ever going to be really stuck, but it is not going to be easy to jump anymore. It's not. It's going to be so much thicker because of this separation, because of this convergence. You want to be at least on this bridge or already here. That's super important. So that information for my stuff, if you're interested in my stuff anyway, you can, Corey's going to put it in the comments and you guys can check it out. The Civil War. So going into this is the prep. So we're at 10:10. We have the 11:11 gateway, which is really the things start manifesting. This is about the time, I'm telling you, it's so hard because the linear thing is not there, you guys. And so I'm feeling the end of October, November, December, we're really going to be seeing what a civil war, and the civil war is probably going to last a little while, and it's going to build and become bigger and bigger. And so what the civil war is basically you seeing the division, you seeing the separation, you seeing people. I'm not going to tell the images that I've been seeing. I have shared some of the images, but I'm not going to be sharing the new images that I've gotten. They're just too horrific. You're going to be seeing some crazy stuff. You're going to be seeing some stuff that on a human perspective it has the potential to scare you or trigger you. Okay? But this is that's what's going to be the civil war. It's going to be people fighting against each other. And we don't want to do that. You have to hold that higher knowing that this has already been done. Love has already won. All we are being asked to do is to see the pain, to see the hurt, to see when somebody's hurting and you truly see their pain, you feel it. It penetrates your heart. It penetrates your heart, and compassion and empathy just explode out. And all you want to do is hug them. All you want to do is hold them. This is what it means to hold space. You are being asked to see it, to observe it, to witness it, to hear the stories and the things that are playing out, and to use your trust and your judgment to discern if that is your truth. It may be someone else's truth, but it doesn't mean it's yours. What is true for you? Can you hear it? Can you listen? Can you hear your own fear personalities, your own protector personalities, your own inner children? What are they saying to you? Can you listen to those voices and see that they are a gift? They are literally telling you where your limits are in the potential that exists. And you can be so grateful for them. And you can say, thank you for sharing those terrible truths that you believe. I understand that a part of me believes that story. A part of me believes that I'm going to die, or I'm going to be a victim, or I won't be able to eat, or I'm going to run out of money, or that the world's ending, whatever the crazy story is that comes up, right? There's a part of you that believes that. So let it feel safe enough to be heard and to be seen, because safety is what heals. People say love heals, and it does, but you're never going to love if you don't feel safe to open your heart. So you have to allow those parts of yourself to feel safe enough to be seen and to be heard. And that means that if you have to do that for yourself, you have to do that for the world. When you see someone being an asshole, send them compassion. I want you to tap into your heart and be like, man, I wonder what that person's going through. I bet you they need extra love today. When you get stuck behind the 80-year-old doing 30 on a bridge that you're supposed to go 55, compassion. Oh my gosh, this poor woman is probably so scared to be driving right now. Let me send her some love. Observe. See the pain. See the fear. Create that safety. That's how we heal. This is all you guys are being asked to do. We're not being asked to fight. We're not being asked to go out there and burn buildings and be hateful and yell at people for voting for the wrong people, right? Honestly, it's not even necessary to vote. Trump's already going to win. It's already been decided. I saw that 2 years ago. I have also seen that Trump would be our last US president. Now, that does not mean that we won't have a leader. But again, over his next term, the rest of this civil war and destruction, he's here to blow shit up. He's here. He is here to help be the one that takes it down. So whether you're pro him or against him, this has nothing to do with politics. He is somebody who has been chosen to help break down the old system. Why? Because it takes one to know one. It takes a thug to know a thug. And he played in these games and he knows, and he ain't afraid, as everybody has seen the way that he speaks. He is not afraid to just say how it is and not give a fuck if he gets it wrong. He's doing what he feels is right because he loves this country. That's something nobody can deny. Sorry, side tangent. So 1111 gateway, we have a lunar eclipse. This is a prenumble lunar eclipse. So it's partial on 1129, 1212 gateway. Again, this is the preparation for the major event. We're going through a series of portals, of gateways, of events, of light codes. 1214, we have a total solar eclipse. And then 1221, we have the major activation, the great activation. Craziness, right? It's gonna be like the Twilight Zone. And you know, here's the other thing that I'm bringing, that's coming in right now. A lot of you, and I was actually talking to somebody personally about this. This great activation, for a lot of you who are already in my shoes or on their way to being, you know, someone who's out there being the change, someone who's out there trying to be of service to the world, right? And doing their work. A lot of you are going to have your natural superpowers, your life's mission, major activation points in this time. Meaning gifts that you never had before, clarity you never had before, abilities you never had before, they're going to be coming online. And that's the good stuff. Like, I see what's happening in the world today, and I'm like, what a miracle that I chose to be here during one of the greatest shifts that we've ever seen. One of the greatest shifts that's ever taken place. That we get to be a witness of that. Like, we chose this, you guys. We chose this. And there are going to be people, we have eject buttons. We have the ability to say, yeah, I'm choosing to tap out. I bit off more than I can chew. So we are going to see a loss in our population. And I want to say this with love. We all make the choice of when we leave here. We all make that choice. Grief is what we're all feeling. A loss of a part of our soul. And we have a lot of soul in what we've built so far. And so watching that break down, we have to grieve it. You have to grieve it. You have to let the tears flow. You have to allow yourself to miss and say, oh man, that was, God, that was such an awesome experience. It's soul loss. You have to reclaim that. Because what is grief, right? It's homeless love. When somebody physically dies in our life, right? I have lost majority of my immediate family since 2013. When we physically lose a person in our life, we feel this hole because we had love inside of us that we were pouring into them. And now that they're gone, we don't know what to do with that love. And what we're meant to do is turn around and give it back to ourselves, to reclaim it. So whether it's a person, a job, a home, a relationship, a business, an animal, whatever you are grieving, whatever part of you has been giving love to something that invested soul and energy into, and now you're watching it deteriorate, or you witnessed it exiting, transforming back into energy, allow yourself to feel it. You have to feel it to heal it. There's no way around it, you guys. You can't avoid it. This is the work I do in private mentorship, right? In private mentorship, this is where I go really deep with somebody, and I will be doing this in teacher training too. And also I want to mention, because this is popping in right now, for those who are going to be waiting to sign up for teacher training, you will get the tiers below it. You will get the Self-Mastery Academy to support you. You will also get the bottom membership, which is the community calls and the energy transmissions. So whatever tier membership you sign up for, you'll get the one beneath it as well, okay? I really love to compound my support. I'm a giver in that department. I really overgive sometimes, but I feel like if I have the ability to, I'm going to. It's why I do these updates. It's why I give to you guys in the way that I do. So remember, what we believe will be this great activation is going to be a game changer, all right? Let me see if I missed anything. Normally I do 3 themes for the month. We're not going to do that this time. We just had too much information come through. I do have the themes, but I'm going to go back right now and just look at some comments and see if there's any questions. This was a lot of information, and so you guys feel free to come back and listen to this several times, to pause it. It's going to be on YouTube as well. Share it far and wide. This is really important information, and I really want to help people. Meredith, oh, I'm sure. Everybody send Meredith's sister some love. And Meredith, she's struggling with the loss of her husband. We choose to leave. You know, I went through that too when my father died and my grandmother. You know, why did they have to leave? The Pleiadians are coming and they're bringing a big, big, big dose of love for you guys. And for me personally, it was my time to step into the light, and it was my time to do the work. And so my family they're my main support system. They're not guides and they're not gatekeepers, right? But they are there to love us and support us in a way that we could never let them in this life and physicality. So everybody has their own reasoning for why they're choosing to exit. But it's always divinely planned, okay? We have a divine blueprint that's laid out, and we always make the choice to go, okay? We always make the choice. Sometimes we hang on a little longer than we probably were supposed to or should, because we don't want to leave and hurt the ones that we love in this life, right? But those are the times you see people who are stuck in a coma, or who have a really bad illness that are hanging on really tight, you know, and fighting it and really suffering. they're reconciling their soul still. And so they're really struggling to in their reconciliation process, especially if they haven't done, this great work we've been talking about. And so they have a lot to reconcile before they fully shift, so make sure you guys send her some love. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Eyelashes and tears do not mix, you guys. Tara Lynn, my new abilities are coming online. It amazes me. Yes, 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 yes. My X-ray vision, I talked about this in one of my lives. My X-ray vision, which is a new ability, it's not what you think, has been really developing. It's so crazy. I'm supposed to go on vacation 12/24. I don't know how travel is going to be affected. I don't really go into those kind of predictions. But yeah, this is going to be, you guys, I'm sure a lot of you guys, this is the awesomest part. A lot of times when I do these updates, it's just validating stuff that you've been feeling but couldn't articulate. Priscilla says, it's not right what these elite have been doing. I pray for peace and love and sovereignty. I hear you, Priscilla. I hear you, but I also challenge you to see that maybe that's exactly what they're here to do. Because again, if I was to flip the board, remember, we all have a space in this continuation, this spiral of life. And sometimes we need people to be the bad guys. Sometimes we need people to be the liberators for these great shifts. So it's a way of, sometimes I'm going to challenge you to see it differently. And while on a human perspective, you're absolutely right. It's sickening, some of the things that we're seeing and hearing and watching. But if you tap into that higher knowing, and you can also hold on to that human aspect, you can send compassion and know that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're here. This is what they signed up for. Thank you, Corey, for posting that. You guys, again, there's a 50% off coupon for those who want to join the Self Mastery Academy, because the price, the coupon won't, once the new courses, there's 2 new courses coming out this year into the Academy. Once those go in, the coupon goes away. Aaliyah, I need a session with you. Watch my post, message me, and let me know. I'll put you on my wait list. My calendar's currently closed, but I will be opening it back up and doing limited sessions. I'm really trying to focus on my academies and writing these channeled books. But I am going to be doing sessions. They're just going to be very limited. So make sure you message me to get on a wait list if you want a private session. Corey says, I love to dance while cleaning. It's so much more fun. Yes. And you're bringing joy. You're appreciating your house with joy. Carolyn, we do that on the reservation. We wave and say hi to one another. Yay. I love it. I love it. Vanessa, that's where I have a problem with lately, is having the fun part. Everything seems so very serious and like a chore. And that's a choice you're making. So you have to commit to enjoying your life, to savoring life, to really being in the full sensory of this moment. Otherwise it's just, it's like I said before, you've been dying to go to this new restaurant, right? You're so excited. You travel to it, you get there, and you order the meal that you've wanted, and then it comes and you you hoover it, right? And then you're done and you're stuffed and you're sitting there and they're like, how was the meal? And you're like, I don't even know. I ate it too fast. Stop speeding through life. While you're traveling, this is the thing. Stop focusing on the destination. Stop focusing on where you're going to arrive, and instead see this as a cross-country train trip where you're just meant to lean back and fully take everything in, fully enjoy every moment, every bite, as much as you can. And that in itself is a lot about the divine feminine healing. In that, when people can't do that, it's because they have a divine feminine wound, or they have a feminine wound. And so I'm very familiar with the feminine wound. I have a lot of masculine in my energy. So it takes commitment and practice and presence to see. And to have awareness, you have to be present. Okay. So if you're present, you allow yourself to be in everything, all of you to be in this moment, right? Like if you're washing the dishes, you're feeling the hot water, you're feeling the texture of the soap, you're feeling the smoothness of the plate. you're not in your head worrying about that bill that's due next Tuesday or what your kids are doing in the living room. You're fully in that experience. So as much as you can be present, when you're in that present moment, your awareness field like triples, and you can catch yourself in those times and call your energy back. You can bring yourself back and say, come back to me. Like, let's enjoy this moment. Let's not be in a rush. I thought me not being upset over loved ones' deaths was me not processing the death. Am I just an observer? It can be both. So when I'm talking about the death for me, now when somebody dies in my life, I'm still going to grieve. I still have an emotion. I still have to process, right? I'm a human. I'm still going to need to process. When I get the precognition, right? The psychic ability, when I see the event before it happens, when I see the event before it happens and I have no emotion to it, it's coming through a pure, clear channel. Whenever you get precognition and there's emotion attached to it, right, of any kind, that's coming through a muddy channel. It means that it's coming through. So again, channelers, right? There's a ton of us out there, but everybody can channel, every single person on the planet. But it's like a faucet. Again, it's pouring through you into your well. How much dirt do you have? How much density? How many limiting beliefs? How much trauma? How much pain? How much, past life shit have you not dealt with? So if that energy is coming through, this is why also people have ascension symptoms. They have tremendous headaches or tremendous pain in their body during certain transits. Why? Because they have density. So this light, again, like the Schumann resonance in the beginning, this light's pouring in and it's just hitting. It's hitting density, right? And that's going to trigger emotions. It's going to trigger fears. It's going to trigger fight or flight. But if it's coming through a clear channel, which is part of my life's mission, is to create clear channels, it's going to be very detached. You're going to be observing it. But when the event actually happens, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a basket case and a mess. You will still have grief and you'll process it, but you'll process it way faster, because you will be in the observer as well and be able to hold that higher knowing of what's actually happening. But there's still a human aspect of you. It's still going to need to grieve. So it's both. How can I stop the images I see of kids being abused? I'm also getting them, and in my dreams, I'm fighting demons to protect them. It's literally cripples me and keeps me fearful with my kids out in public. So if this is happening in your dream state, you're probably doing work in the etheric realms. So there are whole wars being played out in the energy fields. So there was a time, I don't have the exact date, but there was a time when the grid was locked and anything below a 5D being, fifth dimensional energy vibrational being, could no longer come into our density plane. Does that mean that we don't have reptilians and draconians and other beings still here? Yes, but there's not as many in a physical form, meaning there's not many that have taken over a human body. We have people who are what we call portals. This is getting a little more esoteric, but we have people that are more like portals, and if they're in a low vibration, then again, that low vibrational energy is now a match and can consume that body, kind of like a trance channel, right? Can now step into that body because it's an energetic match. You can only, again, so when we get into psychic attack and things like that, you can only ever attract what you are a match for. So if you're feeling those kind of energies, what is it doing? It's showing you the parts of yourself that's attacking yourself. It's showing you your subconscious, your limiting beliefs, your fear personalities. It's an energy that has taken on a separate identity. So again, if you're seeing this, you are probably being you're in the astral realms, and you are working and fighting in the astral realms. You're doing your job in those realms. Last night, I was traveling to another planet. I don't even know what planet. Part of me thought it was Saturn because it was red. It looked like red dirt, red clay, but I was told no, and I couldn't understand what I was being told. But I was working. I astral traveled into another reality and was doing the same thing. I was doing that kind of work. So a lot of times us light workers, we're freaking exhausted when we wake up, because here's the thing with this plane of existence. Let me just blow your mind for a minute. When we're awake, this is when most people are really asleep. So when you go through an awakening, this is when you're awake more like 24 hours a day if you're going on the timing frequency. When you are going through your awakening, you're going through periods of being awake and asleep. People who are really in 3D, when they're sleeping, they're awake. I'm talking about awakening, right? Their consciousness is alive. When they're awake in physicality, their consciousness is asleep. It's flipped, it's reversed, okay? So a lot of people say, oh, I'm woke. Well, until you've come into the third phase of your evolution, the third phase of your awakening, where you have reconciled and you are holding the divine feminine and masculine in a more balanced energy, you've created that structure to flow, you are not fully woke. And you really, even me, I'm not fully woke. Why? Because I haven't come into full union. When I come into full union, I'm going to shed my body. We will come into a time, I don't know if it will be in my lifetime, that we will no longer shed our bodies. We will begin shape-shifting again, because 5D is not the end game, you guys. We're on a 12D grid. 5D is not the end game. It's just the next stop on the journey. All right. So our bodies will shift and we'll begin to be shapeshifters again, and aging won't be a thing. All right. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and this is getting a little bit more esoteric. So what do you do when you see that? You wake up, you do some breath of fire. Right? You do the ego eradicator, you do breath of fire, you go work out, you feel in your body, you journal about it, you do some breath work, you bring some violet light through you, you do your work, sister. You do your work. And if you don't know how to do that work, then I suggest you get on the list for teacher training, because you're going to want to know how to do that work, because it sounds like you have a big mission here. If you pull it into this reality, you're already doing the work. Don't allow that fear, because then what you're doing is basically fighting yourself, because there's a part of you that that already believes she is the heroine who's out there doing the great work of protecting the children. But then there's this other part of you that's the exact opposite conflict, that's like the victim and is in fear for her children. Well, overnight, you were out being the heroine of the children. Do you see the inner conflict that's happening there? There's some reconciliation inside of you that needs to happen as well. Let's see. You were born on a full moon in Taurus. Nice. Let's see. I'm going to go through and see if there's any other comments I want to touch on before we wrap it up. The Rh negative blood type, that will have to be a different live. That's a little bit too deep for this right here. And when you do see, there's going to be a lot of different truths. Remember, there's going to be different theories. There's going to be different people bringing consciousness through a different channel, right? It's going to come through different information. And also, we don't all hold everything, right? So I'm a piece of the puzzle. Someone else is a piece of the puzzle. So you can piece stuff together in regards to that, Shelley. And you can also feel which one resonates with you, right? So read your own energy, which one resonates with you. Kimberly from Oregon. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another Oregon, lots of Oregon. North Carolina, woo woo. Germany, my peoples. I am German and Swedish. I attract a lot of Germans. All right, let's see if we got any of the new comments. Love wins. Hi, Tammy. Yes. Tammy Sage, the one who just commented, she just finished private training with me. She has her own YouTube channel. She is stepping into her abilities. So she's another good one to follow if you guys are looking for stuff. All right. So you guys, stay tuned to my Facebook. Put me on notification. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Put me on notification when I feel inspired to come through for updates on what's happening as we go. If I feel called to show up with a message, you know, Scotland. Ooh, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever had someone on a live from Scotland. That's awesome. If I feel inspired to come in, bring a update through, sometimes I write them out instead of coming live. So stay tuned to my posts. I'll be bringing information through as it comes. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. Okay, I have a ton of free content on YouTube. You can go to my website. I have You can go to johannaburkhardt.com. I have a bunch of stuff on there. I have 2-tier membership right now. Again, teacher training is coming. I know I have a whole list of people who've been waiting for me to unveil this, but the timing hasn't been right. But now is the time. I'm getting the push to go for it. Our Pleiadians from God, everybody's from God, Priscilla. Everything is a part of the same whole. Everything is a part of the same whole. Every galactic being, every negative, what we would consider a dark being, every human being, we're all a part of source consciousness. So you guys can check out my memberships. Corey, my manager, has posted the links a few times. There is a coupon code for 50% off right now for the Self-Mastery Academy. That means you can get in and lock in your price before the next 2 courses drop. We're going to be doing a parts work course, which is integrating all parts of self, and that's going to be a deeper one. And we're going to be doing a soul flow experience, which is balancing the divine feminine and masculine and stepping into that flow. So 2 major courses are going to be released this year. So lock in your price with that coupon before those come out. And as long as you're a member, your price will stay the same. And then I have my Secret Soul Society, my lower end membership that gives you access to Awaken the Magic, which is my beginner's basic Claire, third eye, those kind of things. Claire and chakra course. It gives you access to all past and future online events. And you get a new energy transmission every month live with me. And you get a 90-minute group coaching call where we kind of sync the minds. It's kind of what I do on my Unity events. We sync everybody's mind. So anybody who asks a question, it's going to be related to what you're going through. I want to give a special shout out and thanks to my manager, Corey, for having my back and being such a huge support for me lately. To the 9th dimensional Pleiadians who are pouring through my heart tonight or today. I don't even know what time it is. The ancients who are just the most loving beings that are bringing forth the most epic information I've ever been able to tap into. And of course, the Galactic Federation of Light, which is really the gatekeepers for us having this earth experience. Should I wait to do teacher training course instead of doing self-mastery right now? Absolutely not. Dive into self-mastery when teacher training rolls out. What we'll do is we'll credit anything that you've paid into self-mastery this far into the teacher training, and we will set up we'll switch your payments, up. The Self-Mastery Academy has so many courses. It has so much content. If you want to start diving in now, I would highly suggest it because the teacher training is going to be a pretty intensive program. And the Self-Mastery Academy will be there when people are struggling, when people are having stuff that is the toolbox that, really should have gotten you to the teacher training. You will have access to go binge in there and dive in there and remember and get reminded about how to use those tools and gifts. So don't wait. Just know that I will always credit whatever thus far into the new up level, to the new tier. Okay. Because that's what feels good in my energy. So I love you guys. Please share this broadcast. Please send love to each other. I love each and every you. Have compassion. Hold that higher knowing. Love wins. I will see you guys next time.